mention. There's this one by Michael Milton, who used to be the president or the chancellor, I think it was, of the Reformed Theological Seminary in Jackson, and that covers the other Reformed Theological Seminaries in the United States. But Michael Milton was called late into the ministry.
Right, late in life.
Yeah, he was quite successful in business, and he'd obviously performed very well there and proven himself in business. But he felt increasingly led to consider gospel ministry. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't sure exactly how that would take place, but he was a mature age person with a child when he became involved. And he's written this book, which I think is a very important book, actually. It's a series of short articles which deals with a theology of calling, reflections on it, examples of calling in the Bible. I think one of the reasons we need to read that is because he talks about those who are called who are very young, mm-hmm. and those who are called later in life. Mm-hmm. And we tend in our culture to only consider people who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and primarily between the ages of 30 and 50. He indicates that there were men called far younger than that. So, that it's possible for mature Christians to be called at an earlier time in their life. And when you think of all the pressures that come upon people today, that's an important consideration to bear in mind. The fact that people like Samuel and Jeremiah and Timothy were called at relatively young ages, and he also surmises that the apostles like James and John and Peter and Andrew may have also been called in their late teens. We don't know, but they're working with their father, so the possibility exists that they were young men who'd been trained earlier in their trade of fishing. He talks about challenges of the call, how to select a college or a seminary, the kind of life a seminary family ought to have, the ministry of a person in a college, finding your place in the church, post-seminary stress syndrome, how to lose your ministry while excelling in your profession, the life cycle of a pastor. They're all brilliant subjects. Excellent. And he's been through them all. Yeah. And he's academically trained in theology, obviously, and holds a doctorate in it, but he's got other areas of life that feed into this experience. So that's a very good